Hello and welcome back. Today we are going to explore Docker Swarm, which is Docker's native orchestration tool. It is similar to Kubernetes, but it is native to Docker, which allows the user to manage the cluster of Docker nodes as a single system. What it does is it turns a group of Docker hosts into a single virtual Docker host, which enables the user to actually deploy and manage the containers across a cluster of machines or nodes seamlessly. Right. So what we are going to do today is we are going to learn how to create a Docker Swarm and then create a service, and as well as see how we can actually scale up the service or scale down the service. Right. So let's begin. To create the Docker Swarm, okay, we are going to make use of three nodes. So what I've done is to create three different terminals here. Okay, for us to log into our EC2 instance that has been created. So in a previous video tutorial, we have seen how we can actually create an EC2 instance and log into the EC2 using secure shell. Right. So to recap, okay, to recap, over here, this is the command to log into our EC2 instance. So using secure shell, right, we will provide a path to the PEM file or private key in the directory of the private key. Okay, together with the instance username, right? So for our case, since we are using Amazon Linux, if we are using Amazon Linux, it will be EC2-user, and then the instance public dash name value. Right. So what is this instance public domain name server name value? Right. So if we enter our instance detail in AWS, right, we will see this value located over here. Right. So public IPv4 DNS. So this is the value which we will copy down. So we can copy and easily put it to our terminal. So looking at our terminal, okay, so this is the path to our PM file, right? EC2 dash user, okay, as well as the DNS value here, right? So I will press enter, right? So we are logged into the first instance. Let's do the same for the second and third instances. All right, so what I've done is to prepare it on a notepad, okay, so I can easily paste it, okay, third terminal, okay. So we have logged into our three instances. Next, we are going to initialize the Docker Swarm using the following command: Docker Swarm init, okay, advertise the public address, right, and followed by the IP address here. All right, but first of all, what is the IP address? Okay, we can find out what is the IP address for this instance using ifconfig. Right, so over here, okay, under nginx 0, okay, the inet value, okay, this would be the port number, IP address, sorry. So we copy this value down. Okay, so I'll clear the screen again. Okay, so again, one more time. Docker swarm init. Okay, advertise address. Okay, paste this number. Right. So what this command does is that it will set this EC2 instance, right, as the or rather this node as the manager of the swarm. All right, so this one has been initialized as the manager of the swarm. So what we can do is we can actually add more managers, right? In a more complex and production system, you definitely need to have more managers in order to make it a more robust and scalable system. If not, okay, we can actually set the other two instances, okay, for demonstration purpose as the worker nodes. Right, so in order to do that, okay, you see over here, you can just run the following command. It has been created for us. Docker swarm join, okay, so it will provide us with a token, right, followed by the value here. So this is uh, the IP address followed by the port number. So you copy this down very easily, okay, just paste it at the other two nodes which we would like it to be the worker nodes, right? So it says here the node has joined as a the swarm as a worker. So do the same for the other. Right, there you have it. So we have created two worker nodes together with one manager node. After initializing the Docker Swarm with the manager and worker nodes, the next step will be to create the Docker service. So the Docker service is an abstraction, okay, of how we want to run the containers within the Swarm cluster. So it allows us to manage and scale the containers across multiple nodes in the Swarm. This will ensure that there's availability and also load balancing. So in order to create the Docker service, right, we will provide the following command. Okay, so Docker service create. Okay, so provide a name for our service, right? So I'll call it my web server. Okay, and then we'll create three replicas. Okay, and then publish, right? So we'll publish it to port, all right, localhost port 8080, right? And then with the image of nginx, right? So let's check it out. Okay, so once we see this over here, service converge means that we are done, right? So you can actually check it out, Docker service yes, okay, and then my web server. Okay, we can see that these are the service that is the containers that are running in the service, right? So if you do a Docker service yes, right, you see the name of the service that is created. It is replicated, okay, with three replicas. So back to here, right? We see that it is created at we created three replicas. So they are created at each of the different nodes, right? With one of them, the one ending with 241 here, being the manager node. So this places both a manager and a worker node. All right, so we can do a quick check to see whether nginx is installed correctly, okay, and whether it's up and running. Okay, so to do that, okay, first of all, we retrieve the IP address. Okay, so copy this. Right, I'll clear the screen so that's clearer. Okay, so from here we'll use curl, paste the IP address, okay, followed by the port earlier that we have mapped onto for the localhost port 8080. Okay, so over here we see that we have retrieved a HTML page, okay, with nginx. Right, so our nginx is up and running. Thank you. All right, so similarly, if I want to check nginx on the browser, okay, so I can click on one of the instance, right? So this one happens to be the manager node, right? So what I can do, open the address. Okay, I'll change this to HTTP, right? Because it doesn't have the certificate for HTTPS. Okay, and then okay, map it to port 8080 on this host. Okay, so there you go. Right, so we have nginx on the browser as well. All right. Next, we are going to see how we can actually scale up or scale down our service. So, what do we mean by scaling up or scaling down our service? Is that we are either increasing or decreasing our number of replicas, which is the instance of a running container. Okay, so this is to ensure that there's high availability when necessary, or to reduce the resources used when there's a lower demand for it. Okay, so we can easily do that, okay, with a Docker service command. Okay, but just to note, okay, in order to do this, okay, we have to perform the Docker service command at the manager node, right? So if we were to run this command at the worker node, all right, it will not work. Okay, so let's try it out. Okay, so Docker service scale, right? So we are going to use the name of our service, my web server. Okay, just now we created three replicas, so I'm going to reduce it to two. Let's see what happens here. All right. Okay, so we have service converge. Okay, so let's see Docker service PS. Okay, my web server. Okay, you see that there are okay now only two replicas that are running okay on these two nodes. 85 and ending with 85 and 241. Now, so I'm going to increase the number of replicas again. So using the command here, goes to 3. Okay, but before that, okay, let me just demonstrate very quickly. Okay, what I mean if we were to run it on another node. Okay, that is, let's say, on a manager node. Right, so we receive the error message that this is not a swap manager. Okay, so coming back to this. Okay, so let's increase this to 3. So, okay, so scale, right? We want to scale it up. So we scale my web server equals to 3. Okay, so now we have increased the number of replicas, scaled up the number of replicas. So let's, there you go. Right, so now we are back to 3 replicas that are up and running. So this demonstrates how we can actually scale up or scale down the number of replicas for based on our needs. Right, thank you. All right, so this sums up our demonstration on the creation of a Docker Swarm as well as a service. So what we have done was to initialize a Docker Swarm where it creates a manager node on the instance where it was initialized, as well as we added in 2 worker nodes on the other 2 EC2 instances. What happened when we created the 3 replicas was that it actually created 3 different containers, okay, for that service. So it is distributed across the 3 different nodes. Okay, and then one of these running container happened to be set up inside the manager node as well, right? So the manager node can actually play a dual role of both a manager and a worker node. Okay, then after that, we also saw how we could actually scale up or scale down the replica, okay, to ensure that we are fully utilizing the our Docker service and our resources based on the needs, right? So that this is it for the demonstration for this video tutorial. I hope that you have found this useful, okay, and to me, it was definitely a good learning experience of how we can actually do container orchestration. Okay, the one that we know about is always has always been with Kubernetes, but this time we have seen how we can use a native Docker tool, right, to do container orchestration, and that is with Docker Swarm. Right, so till next time. Okay, so till we meet again. Thank you.